One person who wants to get the show on the road is the New South Wales Treasurer Dominic Perrottet. He is certainly determined, he said, to open New South Wales up. I'm not too sure some of the lefties in his government are as supportive, but he at least goes down with the quote of the month when he said about Queensland and the border closures, and I quote, only in Queensland would they want to buy an airline. This was the Virgin thing. Only in Queensland would they want to buy an airline, but ban planes leaving the airport. And that is the predicament. We thought we'd get onto him for a bit of an insight tonight. And Treasurer Perrottet, good evening. Thank you for joining Richo and me.
Evening, Alan. How you going?
Now listen, you're a smart cookie. So look, just let's forget Perrottet and Berejiklian and Morrison. Can I quote you from Raina McIntyre, a professor of global security and the head of the biosecurity program at Australia's Kirby Institute, who has told livescience.com about this social distancing. We've all got to be 1.5 metres apart. It's about 5 feet. Let me quote, and I quote, the 3 to 6 foot rule is based on a few studies from the 1930s and 1940s, which have since been shown to be wrong. And hospital inspection control experts continue to believe this rule. It's like the flat earth theory. Anyone who tries to discuss the actual evidence is shouted down by a chorus of believers. Now, Dominic Perrottet, you are a smart, practical cookie. When are we going to stop this social distancing? When will the Sydney Opera House open?
Well, hopefully, Alan, as quickly as possible. Look, we want to open up the New South Wales economy in a safe way, and there are obviously different medical opinions and advice in relation to this. I think, people have really taken this approach in terms of taking hand sanitizer, keeping distant to some degree, and that means that if you look at the rate of the spread, particularly right across Australia, it's been slow, and that's a positive. That's a very positive outcome. And now what we need to do is make sure we open up our economy as quickly as possible, because whilst we look every single day at the health numbers, behind all of that are job numbers, people who have lost their jobs.
Yeah, but Dominic, I'm sorry, Dom, I don't want to interrupt you. You're talking about work numbers. Now, no one can get a job in the hospitality industry or in the travel industry. Take hospitality, hundreds of thousands of jobs with social distancing. Now, I repeat, here is our own research scientist on livescience.com, and which has shown that this thing rates the 30s and 40s, shown to be wrong. But he says the hospital infection control experts continue to believe this rule. It's like the flat earth theory. Anyone who tries to discuss the evidence is shouted down. I mean, basically, why do we ignore this obvious repudiation of this social distancing, which means we'll never see a concert again, we won't be able to go to the football, the Sydney Opera House can't open, and this is costing thousands and thousands of jobs?
Well, Alan, there's competing medical advice in relation to this, but my view from the Treasury perspective of our state is that we need to open up as quickly as possible and do things in a way which release restrictions. And that's why if you look at our recent announcement on pubs and clubs and restaurants, we want to increase the patronage. I want to get bureaucracy out of the way, look at new ways of doing things. And at the moment, we have a situation where council regulations are going to ensure, if they remain in place, that many restaurants and cafes can't operate at capacity.
Treasurer, Richo and I are not against you. I'm on your side, and I know you're fighting a battle and losing it in a cabinet which doesn't agree with you. But how can you open up the economy when you've got a bus with a capacity of 60 passengers, and because of social distancing, it can only carry 12? You've got a train with a capacity of 1,100, social distancing, it'll only carry 180. And now you've got an 80-strong team, your government, they're called a distancing squad. They'll use closed-circuit television, 11,000 cameras, to spy on people because they're not keeping away from one another by 1.5 metres. You're not going to open the economy with this sort of nonsense?
Well, we've got to start, Alan, and look, I'll give you a practical example. Just the other day, I was getting a haircut down in Martin Place, and I'm very concerned about some of these regulations because they're only opening at half their capacity. Many of the workers there who are on are those from overseas, and the other staff are sitting at home on the JobKeeper program. And it's a real challenge because if we don't look at ways in which we can reduce regulation here in a safe way, these businesses are not going to be able to operate come September in a way that's going to be financially viable for them to survive.
Well, that's right. That's right. But Dominic, I was talking to Graham earlier today. Graham, come in here because Graham and I are having a yarn. Now, you're saying open it up, and I know you're on the right side of things, Dominic Perrottet, but we're now told the pools will open. Only 10 people can go in at a time, but it's going to be one person per lane. Now, there's no pool with more than 8 lanes, so only 8 people can swim. I don't know what the other 2 are doing in. Who dreamt up the 10? Your government. Who dreamt up the business whereby you've got a book, no change rooms are to be opened, no change rooms. So the pools are closing because they said, well, we're not going to have people getting sick. They have a swim and they can't change till they get home. Dominic, it's your government that's introducing these ridiculous rules and regulations which are doing anything but opening the economy. Graham, how mad is this about swimming pools?
The swimming pool thing has no logic in it. It's just dumb. Now, governments can be a lot of things, but they're not supposed to be dumb. Now, Dominic, who's a friend of mine and someone I know well, is anything but dumb. He's a very clever guy. I can't understand why he doesn't stand up and say, this is rubbish. We've got to stop it right now. Why don't you, mate? Why don't you just get up there in the cabinet tomorrow and say, no more of this crap?
Well, I can't talk about what happens in Cabinet, Richo, as you would quite rightly know. And look, it's not a perfect science. I want to do everything I can to keep the economy going. And you're right, when it comes to the logic of some of these decisions, you have to look at it. I mean, you've got a situation now where a range of facilities can't open, churches can't be up to 50, but we can have restaurants up to 50. We're working through that with the medical officer here in our state. I want to do everything I can because it weighs heavily on me. And I feel,
right,
and
well,
Alan,
yeah.
I feel responsible as Treasurer of the State for every job that will be lost during this period of time. It weighs heavily on me, and whatever we can do,
I know.
And I can tell you we're in there doing whatever we can to open up the economy as safely as possible during this period.
Well, I know that, and I know, and your heart's in the right place. Can I just end with one example, though, Dominic? This is the Treasurer of New South Wales. Now, I own a restaurant, and Richo owns a restaurant. My restaurant, because I live upstairs, it seats 15. So you've allowed 10 people to go into the restaurant. I think that's terrific. Well done, because I've got 2/3 capacity. I'm really doing well. But Richo owns a restaurant with 200 seats. He's only allowed 10 people too. He's got 2% capacity. He can't make a quid. Who has dreamt up 10 people?
Well, we can now have 50 from Monday, so we can all go out to lunch together, Alan.
Where does 50 come from? Where does it come from? Where does 50 come from?
Well, I mean, look, the health officers are of the view that what we don't want to have here is the spread of the virus increasing at a rate that we then have to close things down. Now, my view has been as quickly as possible we should be relaxing these restrictions. I believe that if we continue the approach that we've taken, we'll get things moving as fast as we can, and that keeps people in work. And at the end of the day, this is a very tough period of time for everyone. And look, we've done a great job. Let's take a step back compared to the rest of the world. Australia's done a great job but Alan, Australia's done a great job in slowing the spread, but now that means we can open up the economy. Here in New South Wales, we have one person with COVID in our ICUs. So that's a positive thing that we can now, we've got on top of the health issues, but we've got to move it very, very quickly to open up our state. And I can tell you I'm very much focused on that.
Okay, good on you, Dominic. It's good to talk to you, but I just want to have I'm not entitled to the final say, but I just want to say this notion, I agree with all of that, but this business about lockdowns and social distancing and so on, the evidence is not there that this is in fact in any way improving the predicament. Our position is good in relation to infection because we stopped the planes coming from China and we stopped importing the virus.